All right, welcome back to Making Picks. My name is Nathan. I'm here with Mark. What's going on, Mark? Are you excited for the weekend?
I think you have to be, right? You kind of look at it from my perspective is that it's a definitely an unofficial holiday.
Mm,
So you have Super Bowl Sunday, and the next thing after that, I guess, is Memorial Day.
yeah,
Am I missing something? I mean, all right.
the draft.
I mean, I
Draft is a
have.
holiday. Come on.
Uh,
I know how much you
I'm talking
disregard it.
about. All right. You know what? If you did something on that day, it is socially acceptable for you to
Mm,
bang out of work the following day. I'm not
gotcha.
sure if you're
Okay,
getting away
you're talking federal
with the
holidays
draft.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand that you have Valentine's Day the day after the Super
Yep.
Bowl. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody that's out there who gets geeked out over it. I know that you got a lot of pressure on you being a married kind of guy. I'm a little bit of a different situation, but hey, you
We
know what? I
actually
got to pull
celebrate our
through with
cat's
the
birthday on
significant
Valentine's Day.
other in my life,
Yeah.
right now in terms of you know the right restaurant, the right stuff
Hmm.
like that. But you have Valentine's Day, then you have St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I mean, you can get booze, but hey, you know what? If you bang out of work the day after St. Patrick's Day, you're going to have to talk to somebody, as far as I'm concerned here.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily socially acceptable. Hey, you know what? I got fucked up for St. Patrick's Day, so I'm not coming
Drinking
into work
green
today.
beer.
No, no, yeah, exactly. So then after St. Patrick's Day, actually, all right, so you'll have Passover and Easter, but I don't think. I mean, you don't get off from work. Like the stock market is still open, post office is open during Passover, Holy Thursday, and Good Friday.
Yep.
So I don't think those are national holidays.
No, no.
I
They
think,
happen on a
and
Sunday
somebody
too,
can
like
correct me
Easter's a
wrong
Sunday.
in the comment section. I think the next set of days that you are physically allowed to not work is Memorial Day, that followed by Fourth of July.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I like how you're thinking because it's
Well,
cold
that's what
up
I'm looking
here
at it.
in New England, and it's good to look at. The next step is warm weather. So, here we are.
Hey, you're almost as much. So yes, it's a very long-winded explanation for me to get to my point of I am 100% excited for the upcoming weekend
Yep.
because it's a big game here, but it's also, you know, a good excuse to not necessarily do everything that you should be doing for at least another day or so.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
you
you get
know
to
what?
gamble, you get to drink, you get to stuff your face with food, you get to watch sports for a majority of the day, or watch. Because keep in mind, there's a lot of things sports wise leading up to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
So it's not like you get dragged out by your ears. Hey, you know what? You got to come with me to the mall, or you have to come with me to my mother's house, or whatever excuse your significant other or loved one in your life is going to give you on something that you need to be doing on a weekend. Because let's be honest, wives, girlfriends, and things like that, they see like those open time slots in your schedule. They love filling it up with
Yep.
tasks and responsibilities. They can't do this on Sunday.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm excited.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the Sunday is where we're filling up their time slots because we got
That's
Super
right.
Bowl
We're we're
parties.
we're
We've
we're
got
we're, we're the
yeah,
masters for at
exactly.
least a
You know, the
majority of a day.
the whole season has been nothing but us vegging out on the
Correct.
couch on Sunday and them walking by, just wondering how we can sit there for 8 hours watching the same
After
thing.
Sunday, you actually, I mean, that portion of your calendar goes back to them.
It does.
Now they start looking, okay, you know what? We're going to this wedding on a Saturday. Don't book anything for Sunday.
Yep.
You're starting getting into that type of
Hmm.
tasks and responsibilities. So,
Oh, my wife's looking forward to that. That's for sure. And this is that bridge. You bridge the gap where it's almost like a transfer of power, where it's Super
correct,
Bowl party and your wife
correct.
is involved. For us, my wife is cooking our famous mac and cheese and pulled pork, and so she gets it's her chance to get involved, watch a little bit of the game, and then I'm hers for months until we're
Until
back into it.
September, the second week of September.
Yep. Yep. So No, I'm geeked. You can see me. I got my jersey. I'm ready.
Of course
It's
you
been
do.
sitting right next to me, ready to go. I got about $100 into the books. I am ready for the weekend. How about you? Where are you at with your betting? So New York is opened up for
Been open for
betting,
a couple of weeks now. Almost. Wow. I mean, it flies. It's almost a month now.
right? Well, it's been a couple months since I was in the same boat.
Yeah.
Counting down those days, waiting for things to finally open up, and yeah. So how much you got in the books on this game?
Oh wow. When I kind of take a look at everything in total, and I think about it, I'm about 500.
Mm,
And I'll tell you kind of why. Now, I'm not going to split any hairs here, and whoever's listening to the show here, you might want to check out the article that I published on the IDP guys. I kind of made my you know predictions
hmm.
on the Super Bowl. We'll cover it here during this show as well. Hey, it looks like guys like me and people like Joe Rogan have a lot in common, and where we just happen to kind of going to get sent to. So I put like a little comment in my last article that I wrote about how you're basically a loser if you're the type of person who is going to get involved with, you know, betting the Gatorade bath color. But I'll actually raise my hand, and getting back to my point of how much I have invested into this game here, I'm just as big of a sucker as anybody else here. So although I think people are losers who bet the Gatorade bath, I completely think it's a farce. It's a sucker's bet. But
Mm,
every single year, somebody ropes me into it.
yep.
So I probably have about $200 into these stupid Super Bowl squares or Super Bowl boxes,
Yeah.
kind of like, on the fence of that. So that's where, I get, roped into things like that. But between that, um, we'll get into it, but I got a couple of different things on the Rams. I like the Rams. We'll cover that stuff over here. But I'll ask you this here. I got about $100
Ooh.
into these two right here. Now, last week I talked about how, and I'll ask you this. I talked about how I was buying a 2020 Panini Chronicles SGC 10.
Hmm.
Now, shortly after I made that purchase, or as I get closer to the anticipated delivery date, the seller reached out to me. Great guy, very kind of like an apologetic. Was like, listen, I made a mistake.
Mm.
He's like, I actually already allocated the SGC 10 card, and to make up the difference, what if I give you these two 9.5s? So I wound up buying the SGC 10 card. I want to say with the tax and the shipping fees and all that other fun stuff. And I don't know. I think there was a small little eBay fee in that link as well.
Yeah.
I'm probably like all in for $80 on that card.
Okay.
And I think the value of these two are kind of like hovering around the same.
Hmm.
So I guess my question to you is, what would you have done? Would you have returned the 10 and gotten your money back? Or, hey, you know what? You think these two 9.5s are fair enough. And look, I got these because I'm looking to take a little bit of an insurance or to
Yeah.
minimize my risk with my
Hmm.
Rams bet. And I still thought this was like a fair deal. And I thought the guy was a stand up kind of like a great guy. So I stuck with the deal.
Yeah. It's diversifying. So rather than one card having the ability to raise in value, you now have two cards raising in value, and that could compound. So from an investment standpoint, from just the numbers, I think it's a good deal. I would have probably taken that. Um, I that's it kind of sucks that your original purchase wasn't available, but I think you made it right.
We'll see. So I definitely plan on holding on to them,
Yeah.
and we'll kind of like see what happens. I'll make a decision on what I'm going to do with them for either the medium term or the long term.
Yep.
If Cincinnati wins and Burrow happens to get hit with a MVP title in addition to the championship ring,
Mhm.
I might look to kind of flip it right away. If Cincinnati wins, but nothing kind of like really special happens with Burrow, I still think that I am going to be holding on to these cards until at least I say September of this year, and we'll see what happens. That's the plan, kind of as of right now. But if the market kind of goes crazy, I think it's going to pop if Cincinnati wins. I don't think it's going to be, holy shit, my $100 investment just turned into $2,000. I don't think it's going to be like, one of those types of scenarios. I mean, I'm looking at like an opportunity where if I get my money back plus an extra, $40 or something, which makes my $100 Rams minus 4.5 bet only a $50 loss as opposed to a $100 loss here. That's kind of like the type of scenario that I'm looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have a better chance of 2 cards raising in $20 increments than 1 card going up $40. So,
or maybe it helps me kind of sell it like a little bit faster. I mean, maybe by lotting the 2 up as opposed to trying to sell the 2 individually.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But regardless, I got a couple of days to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I don't plan on doing anything with them until after the SB.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So, I mean, we're looking at the weekend. You got any hot topics that we should start covering? Like, I
Yeah, I
feel like
think
there's been a lot of
basically
news.
there's leading up to like things like this, and I'm not sure if it's the extra week in between here, but it just seems that things go crazy, or like like all the wackadoos or the crazies kind of come out here, and there's never a shortage of content to potentially talk about leading up to this week. So
Yeah.
I'm sharing my screen here. I thought it was kind of important just to kind of cover a couple of different hot topics that are trending in the NFL. Starting next week, we'll start digressing into other topics here. But I kind of felt remiss if you didn't talk about other things other than the NFL. I mean, Tuukka Rask retiring up in Boston. I thought that was kind of interesting. But I figured for this week here, let's stick with football. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what year were you born in?
87.
87. So that would actually make you a millennial, right?
Elder millennial, I think is what they
Elder
call
millennial.
it.
I
Yep.
am 44, born in 77. So I am a Gen X type of a person. So
Got
obviously there's a little bit of an age discrepancy between me and you.
it.
But I think somebody like you would be in a better position to answer this as opposed to me, because I'll just come across as a grumpy old fart who, just doesn't
Calls people
like any.
losers.
Yeah, exactly. Calls people crazy. But this whole Kyler Murray thing is fascinating, like me over here. So here you have an individual who is 3 years into his 5-year contract, has gotten to like a little bit of a tiff. And now I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. He deleted all of his pictures from his Instagram account that resembled him in a Cardinals uniform. To
Interesting.
me, he looks like a complete pussy. And
Oh.
being a Giant fan, some of the local things taking place in the local market is, hey, you know what? Would you rather have Kyler Murray or Daniel Jones? And right off the bat, I'm thinking the Giants have so many freaking problems. The last thing that they actually need is some crybaby who is pouting in a corner because he's not necessarily getting his way. And if the organization is in a true search for somebody to take the reins of this organization or the bull by the horns and get them moving in the right direction here, tactics like this are not what I'm looking for as a season ticket holder, as a fan. I just want kind of no part of it. But then again, I also understand that times are different. This is maybe not as uncommon of a thing as I may actually think here. So I don't know. Your thoughts on Kyler Murray? Complete douchebagness or just a sign of the times?
So here's my thinking. And I've saw some of this stuff, and maybe it's the millennial in me, a little different. And also I'm not necessarily tapped into, the Giants media circus that's going on and everything when small changes in random players social media happen and people go crazy. This happens all the time. From my perspective, I see this. They're always X player has removed stuff from their social media account, and are they moving, are they not? They did this with Aaron Rodgers, they did this with Tom Brady. um until there's something happens, like, I don't know if I feel like there's a lot of projection going on. People thinking things that may or may not be there. I don't know. If Kyler Murray is having a rough go at it because for I don't know what 3 years in a row he hasn't been able to make it to the Super Bowl because of the whatever on the team. Yeah, no, that's kind of a bitch move.
So understand, but if
I'm
you're
waiting to
leaning,
see.
let's
I'm a
just
wait and
say
see
a
kind of guy.
little bit more towards the douchebag-iness, if that's even a word,
It's
camp,
drama.
as opposed to
It's drama. People love drama. People love creating drama. And maybe it's Kyler Murray knew that he could probably do this, start a shitstorm, and maybe it helps him leverage something in the front office of maybe they look at
as
some
a
sort of
business owner, if
asset for
somebody
them.
pulled this crap kind of on you, how would you perceive it? Any thoughts come to mind on how you would potentially react? Hey, you
Oh,
know
this
what?
stuff
I've been
happens
writing
all the
for
time.
the IDP guys. Let's just say I was writing for the IDP guys for 2 years. I'm not even saying that somebody would have the ability to do something like this, but because they had some type of confrontation with your editors or front office, they've decided, hey, you know what? Until I get what I want, I'm just going to delete every single article that I wrote for you guys.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't be able to do that, but they could. They could.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been in those situations, and what I do is I call their bluff every single time. I say, okay, if that's how you're feeling, you got a decision to make. You either get past it or you move on. Like, I have no problem cutting anybody. And that goes for the worst writer to the best writer, because if you're going to have an attitude, not be a team player, then what are you doing? Why are you here? It That's part of culture, and especially your team, people that are relying on everyone to come together and create something. And this goes between a writing site, a blog site, and a football team. Like, if everyone's not on the same page and pushing the envelope forward, then you just have toxicity in your locker room, and that doesn't create championships. That creates implosion.
I agree. So let me ask you this. You have one quarterback, fast as hell, a lot of talent, little
Yep.
undersized, a proven pro on the field,
Yep.
but a bit of a drama queen and a douchebag, versus AKA Kyler Murray, versus a quarterback who a lot of talent, tremendous arm strength, can make every single throw on the field, but a little unproven, gets hurt all the time, and has the ability or a tendency to cough up the football. But the talent is connected with there, aka Daniel Jones. Which one are you taking on your team?
I think it's mentality. Are you putting in the work? Are you gonna do it? We can fix mistakes. You can fix mistakes.
So you would
Um,
lean a little bit more towards Daniel Jones.
yeah, I definitely would. Hey, if you
Interesting.
remember
I
last
thought you were
year,
going to go in a completely opposite direction. That's interesting.
no, if you remember last year, I was beating the drum for Daniel Jones. I said I think he can do it. He has to, he has to show up and he has to make those throws. But I was, in fantasy football, drafting him everywhere. I saw it. The potential is there, and that's what I look for. And hey, I'm an open book on this because if anyone's followed my Twitter, I got blasted about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago through bringing people on the site. That's a separate issue, but what I definitely put out there is I look for potential. Talent isn't necessarily as big of a weight for me. If I had the ability to bring on Matthew Berry, but he had kind of a shitty attitude
Mhm.
towards my site versus someone that has never written anything, but they're willing to learn. I'll take the guy willing to learn every single time.
I definitely see that. Although it would be nice to have Matthew Berry as part of the team.
Obviously, and I'm sure he wouldn't be shitty if he was willing to do that. Matthew Berry, if you're watching, please guest on
Here you go.
on
I mean, I
on my
think I'm going to have to
website.
cut this up. Nate C calls Matthew Berry an asshole. I mean, we have it on record.
Yes. Actually, just to kind of cover my bases here, of the analysts that are up at the top, he's probably the most genuine that I've encountered.
Have you met him before? I think you
I haven't met him, but I've through a couple degrees been interacted with him.
If you had an opportunity to spend an afternoon and it can only be one person, and you had to pick between Matthew Berry and Matthew Stafford, who would it be?
Stafford, come on. Come on. That's not even. Right. And now Matthew Stafford I've actually met.
Have you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got his signature. I went to training camp and I met him, Matt Patricia. I wish I could have punched him at that point, but I probably would have.
Did you hate him at that point when you met him, or were you still on the fence about Patricia at that point?
I was. My opinion was turning at that point. That was right before the season where he got fired. I mean, obviously, I was excited, stars in my eyes, getting to see all these guys at Lions training camp and all that stuff. He was a little bit. I mean, okay, I can't call him any names because he did come up and he met with people, which he didn't have that. He didn't need to do that. But he was a little standoffish at that point. But hey, he grabbed my hat, he signed it. I got to have like 2 words with him and he moved on, which is completely understandable for,
Sure.
He's giving up his time. So, but now if I have a lot of feelings at this point that are very negative towards him, Bob Quinn, and what they did to the Lions. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, again, I kind of feel like I'm in a very curious mood today here, so I'm just going to keep peppering questions, at you. I have a little bit of a theory on this show here. I do like to throw things at you to get your reaction to whether, hey, you know what, Mark, you're completely smoking crack, you're off base on this, or is there something there? But again, like I opened up the show with, there's a lot of craziness or crazy things taking place leading up to the Super Bowl. You have the Kyler Murray situation. Obviously, this Alvin, I mean, look at this poor guy. The whole Alvin Kamara situation it's not a good one. It's not a good look on the NFL. No. So I'm even taking a look at stories like that. I'm going back to all the things that played out with the Raiders this year, the DWI, the unfortunate situation where there was another individual that lost their life due to a car accident with alcohol kind of involved here. Brady retiring. So everyone talks about how football is king. NFL is, obviously the gold standard, and how ratings continue to go through the roof. Mm-hmm. But I actually read, I mean, it's a little bit of a nerdy kind of like, article, but I read an article the other day. I can put it in the show notes. I just got to find it again here. But it talked about how, CEEs and how it seems like more and more parents are not necessarily allowing their youths to play tackle football. And it's not necessarily up until like an early age, or I'm sorry, it's not until a little age that they start engaging with tackle football from a tackle and from a contact perspective. So I'm thinking about a lot of these negative stories. The golden boy of the NFL, or the face of the NFL, Tom Brady, coming to retiring. A little bit of a disconnect of, younger kids getting involved with the sport of tackle football. And then you have old farts, grumpy kind of like, individual like me, maybe you to some kind of extent, but individual who have been so freaking beat down by football because their teams suck. And I'm talking about the people in the New York market, the people in the Chicago market.
Yeah.
Maybe not Detroit, for us, I mean, such bad play, and the penalties that take place over the course of a game. I mean, there's a lot of great entertaining games in the NFL, but there's a lot of dogs. A lot of, I'm thinking back to that 49ers Dallas game. It seemed like there was an offsides penalty, by multiple kind of like, teams. throughout that whole kind of first quarter, throughout like that game here. So I guess the point that I'm kind of making is, with all this stuff going on, do we head into 2022, which again, the political arena will take a little bit more of a center stage with midterm elections and things like that? Do we start potentially seeing some ratings dips with the NFL at the conclusion of this season?
I think if we were ever going to
Am I
see a
onto
ratings
something,
dip,
or
I
hey, you know what? You're playing too much of a conspiracy theorist.
I think COVID 2020, all of that
Yeah,
stuff, like if we were going to see a dip, that's when we would have seen it, like a drastic one, because of the product that they were putting out, and just everything that was going on in the world at that point. I think that the NFL is more so going to see a bounce back. I think they're going to
interesting.
be pushing forward. I mean, the salary cap went down after the 2020 season drastically, to a point that it's put many teams like the Saints in major binds. Like Sean Payton is walking away right now from the Saints that are like 80 million over the cap. Can you imagine the team that they're going to have to put out next year, because
Sure.
they're going to have to get rid of the expensive players and bring in people on the cheap. um so I think that, going forward from there, we're going to see, the cap go up. The NFL is really, their hands were tied for so long with their media deal, with the major broadcasters, that they couldn't go streaming. They couldn't do things that got their product in front of more people that were, say, cutting the cord. And so now you're starting to see that transition as these media contracts are being renegotiated, or sometimes being cut. And that's where you've got Amazon Prime doing games. You've got Yahoo Sports, like able to watch a game on their Hulu, all of those things. I think the NFL is going to pivot and maintain, and if not grow. Um, CTE, CE, that kind of stuff.
CE. Did I call it CE, or it's I meant CT, obviously. Right?
Oh, okay. I thought CE was something like a variation. But CTE is a concern, and I think the NFL, while they downplay it on one side, they also work to try and, come up with something to fix that, from on their end, as far as like the players, and because the NFLPA, they're not going to just disregard it, and they're the ones that protect the players. um so there's going to continue to be advancements there to help players' health and everything. Obviously, we look at Antonio Brown and we know there's some guys that are just
Didn't even
lost.
didn't, it's a good
Yeah,
point. Not even didn't even kind of bring that one up here, because I'm
yeah.
also again, my theory is, if there's a disconnect with the young generation having a problem getting into the sport, and you have the older generation, like guys like me specifically. Now, my situation is a little bit different because I'm a Giant fan for the first time in my life. I remember the last 3 games of the season. I'd say two and a half of them, I did not watch a single play of either of those games. I did not watch the Chicago game,
Hmm.
which I believe was the third to last game of the season. I did not watch the game against the Washington Football Club, which is the last game of the season. I actually opted to watch a regular season in December New York Rangers game as opposed to watching a Giant game. First time in my life I've ever kind of done that, and it was literally like, not. I mean, I don't get too caught up with the off the field, drama. It was just more because the product that my favorite team was putting out on the field was putrid. It wasn't
Mhm.
entertaining to me, and I, for a very short period of time, disconnected with a game I've been watching since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
I think really, if you want a barometer test of the future of the NFL, you need to look at high school football. If there's a growing trend of high schools moving away from football, uh, as their team sport, then there's cause for concern that will ripple into the NFL over time. But until then, come on. You go to Texas, high school football is still king. They still make movies about that stuff. And then that feeds into college. College, they just passed the what was it, the NIL, the likeness,
Yeah.
get paid for your likeness stuff. Like that's only going to boost the sports for the NCAA, because people are they're gonna go like, oh man, like I don't have to wait to go pro to start making money. I can, go to college, get an education, and make money. A lot of times people don't have a lot of options. People that are, inner city youth, people that don't come from families where going to college is a general thing. Sports is their way out and into being able to have an education, being able to be successful. So um until that stuff changes, I don't see, there's no like siphoning away the talent from the NFL. And you just got to come to grips that the Giants just suck and they can't pick players in the draft or free agency. That's why you have a bad product on the field. And until Joe Judge is gone, so and didn't what was it, Gettleman? Didn't he like retire or something?
Yep. Retirement. Nice segue into the last kind of point over here. The hired defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. And the more and more I actually give this some thought here. In addition to the NFL ratings topic, I'd like to hear the community's thoughts in the comments in the chat box, kind of like below here. But
Yeah.
I challenge anybody to dispute the fact that Wink Martindale is probably the coolest name of any individual in professional sports. I mean, that is by far the coolest name of all time. In fact, I think I might want to start calling myself Wink if it's possible. Mark Winkselman. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a
What a
pretty
cool
good one.
freaking name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, the Lions had a offensive coordinator a couple years ago, Jim Bob Cooter.
That's
That's a good
you know
football name
what?
right there.
You may have just blown my mind. Jim Bob Cooter or Wink Martindale. Now that is a freaking coaching force right there. If they were able to
Yeah.
kind of join forces at the time,
Yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
good one.
Mm-hmm. What
But
do we got here?
anyway, those are the top typically. And then this is another thing that I want to throw at you just to get your thoughts on. Now, I'm probably a little bit different because not for nothing, I've probably been there a couple times before. However, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, the Detroit Lions make it to the Super Bowl next year.
Mm.
And I give you option A. Option A is, hey, you know what? I got 2 tickets for the Super Bowl. I'm not even sure where the hell they're playing or whatever it is. But guess what? I'm gonna have to kind of charge you, and you had the means to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Option A: hotel, airfare, and 2 tickets to the game. And let's just say that's going to cost you 10 grand.
Mm.
Right. Or I can give you kind of like pick a bar, any kind
Yeah.
of like bar that you want. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to rent out the whole place. Let's call it for 5 grand, and for the remaining difference, you get a free 5,000 kind of like bet
Mm.
on the Super Bowl. But obviously, you're funding this. This is not necessarily kind of getting you. You have the means. What option you kind of taking? I mean, you go into the game. The point that I'm making here, I mean, just to get into this building over here, it looks like the average ticket for a nosebleed up in the upper decks is anywhere between 5 and 8 grand.
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing apples to apples, so 10 grand each side. Am I going to the game, or am I going to a bar and betting on the game?
But not just like any bar. Like, you are freaking renting this whole fucking place out. You can invite, I don't know, 20 to 30 people if you want.
But the Lions are
The Lions are in the Super Bowl, correct?
In the Super Bowl. I either have my own Super Bowl party where I get to be big man, all that kind of stuff, or I'm at the game. I'm at the game 100% of the time.
See, I think I'm looking at it from the perspective of, hey, you know what? I'm at a point where it's just another football game.
Yeah, that's coming from a man that's seen their team win 2-3 Super Bowls.
I mean,
Lions
to
are
me,
you're
the
gonna tell me that there's not gonna be a better party at that Super Bowl if Lions fans are flooding it for the first time.
that's true. I'm also thinking from a perspective of, I mean, I can't stand people in general. So the thought of being around other people, and I'm also thinking about it from perspective of if they happen to lose the game, where would I rather be? I'll freak out if I'm at that stupid game and I just realized I spent $10,000 and my team lost, as opposed to, hey, you know what? I got a nice cozy spot either in Atlantic City
Yep.
or in my local kind of area. Had a good time. I either go back up to my room and drown myself in kind of sorrows, or I just call up the Uber and I'm 2 minutes away from my house and I can kind of, cry myself to sleep. That's what I'm hedging against, as
Yeah.
opposed to, all right, not only did I spend 10 grand, my team lost. Now I have to truck through all these kind of people. I have to eventually get on a plane, go home. I mean, it's just the prolonged misery of things because I'm thinking, hey, I've seen four of them.
Mm.
Actually, I've seen five of them. I've won four of them. I got to start to think, hey, you know what? I've had a good run. I can't really complain anymore. And I just keep thinking back to the situation that the 49ers seem to be in here. Couple of Super Bowls since they're great kind of going to run. A lot of championship games.
Yeah. See, I think the
Not
difference
necessarily
here,
hasn't worked out,
you're spoiled as a fan. You're spoiled as a Giants
spoiled.
fan.
I'm,
Absolutely.
all right.
Compared to Lions fans, Cincinnati fans. I mean, let's
Oh,
talk to the
true.
Cincinnati
Right.
people. Like,
Well,
how
that's
are
why I'm
what are they
asking.
doing?
That
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
So, I'm sure they would come back with
I can
being
have a
at
pretty
that
good
game,
party with Giant fans if
100%.
they kind of going to win at, I don't know, some room at the Borgata in Atlantic City
Yeah.
and have just as good a kind of a time, be exposed to all the things that you want to be exposed to,
But
party wise or social setting.
there's a big difference, and that's history.
And keep in mind, you're sitting nosebleed. I'm not talking about,
I don't
three
care.
rows up, 50-yard line.
I'll be shit-faced and having a great time
All right.
watching, whatever little bit of that game because I'm there. Because the other thing about it is think about everything that goes around the Super Bowl. You've got, they it's an event, it's a weekend. Um, and to just flood into y like every bar, having, I'm sure Cincinnati fans, if they didn't have tickets to the Super Bowl, they probably still showed up in LA just to stand outside the stadium or be in a bar in LA. So you're gonna have all of those fandoms coming in and parties. I'll take the Super Bowl. The first one. The first one.
Got you.
After that,
Got you.
it's a different conversation. If I was a Pats fan, I you couldn't get me off the couch.
Yeah, because I'm also looking at it like, look, I'm a season ticket holder, so
Mhm.
I mean, I understand it's not necessarily guaranteed, but if they did make another Super Bowl run, obviously I've gone to multiple regular season games. I've seen a playoff game at home in most kind of cases, right? And especially, there's some additional funds that you're gonna have to lay out here, especially if you're watching a home championship game. Like that stuff, I'm there. Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to, pry me away from that. With my people, it's my stadium, like my team. I don't have to worry about, you know, seeing for the most part the opposition's kind of colors. It's all kind of thing. To then throw on the Super Bowl on top of that, that's where things get like a little dicey. But anyway, that's pretty much what I had for this week. With regards to the Super Bowl, any specific traditions that you kind of do? I mean, do you stay home? Do you go out? Well, what you get up at 10, 9 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, whatever you get up on Sunday, on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday
Mhm.
specifically. What's your routine? What do you do?
So more recently, I haven't had to work that because if you go back, as I was going through school, I used to deliver chicken wings as a profession,
Mhm.
and I was damn good at it. But it was all hands on deck on Super Bowl, so I generally, if I got
So you
lucky, I'd get
worked usually.
yeah, I would work. But now the last couple years, especially working for myself, there's a Super Bowl party. Lately it's been us. We've been hosting it.
At your
Uh,
place. Okay.
yep, at our place. We cook usually the main course, which so my friends absolutely love my wife's mac and cheese. It
Mhm.
is not your typical macaroni and cheese, Kraft, that kind of stuff. It's not even your typical homemade mac and cheese. This is a 4 cheese blend that has goat cheese and cheddar and all of this, and she cooks it all by hand. And so she does it for major events, people that we have over periodically over the year. But Super Bowl is the one year that we also combine it with my um pulled pork recipe, which is phenomenal. And those two combined together, it's like Nirvana coming together. So that's our draw. So that's the tradition for Super Bowl is making that and either taking it to a party or recently having it at our place. People come by around 3-4 o'clock, have eat dinner and just drink through the game.
Interesting.
New
Yeah.
one. So the new thing, since Super Bowl has been pushed a week, and with the new season or the new game, and we got a cat that was born on Valentine's Day. So it's now during halftime. We're starting it this year. We're celebrating her birthday.
Great. Great. Yeah, I'm fortunate. This is actually the first year, probably like in the last two. Obviously, the last 2 years we've had COVID, so we really didn't have an opportunity to do things like this. But there's this one kind of like in a local bar. I've
Mhm.
been going to it since I am 21.
Yeah.
Um, it's in my kind of like hometown, so a bunch of us. There's got to be at least 20 or 30 of us. We kind of like take the whole thing kind of like over. So that's actually what I
Nice.
was alluding to
Yeah.
with where would I'd rather kind of like be on Sunday. It's almost gotten to a point where I'd rather hang out kind of like with those guys. And we're all getting older now, so it's not like you see these individuals every single
Mhm.
weekend, or when you're
Right.
younger, you're going out every Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it is. Now, like, it's not uncommon, and where you're going anywhere from a week to almost, 6 months, 8 months without kind of seeing a lot of these individuals. But the one thing kind of remains common, which is going to this one spot on Super Sunday. So shout out to Irish Times Pub in Holbrook, New York.
Yeah.
I will be going there, and I will be mixing that in with the place that I actually go to, check the boxes to get into that 100, Guinness Club, which is the Grill in the Ville in Farmingville, New York. Um, they're probably in the process of changing its name. That's what they
Mm.
kind of told me. So I'm going to be split between those two places. I have like a lot of fun kind of doing it, and yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Nice.
So
We're
looking
gonna have to
forward
keep
to it.
tabs on that.
Love. I have like a routine, and where I gotta have a. I'm trying to think. I think it's 12 wings in an order. I think that's
Mm.
what they do. It's either 12 or 14 or something like that. I
Okay.
get an order of wings before the game.
Okay.
I gotta have my uh, chicken finger quesadilla with bacon at halftime,
Okay.
and then kind of like around the fourth quarter, I get another order of wings. Only this, I usually start out with like a dry rub to
Okay.
start,
Hmm.
and I'm ending with like a traditional buffalo, but they got to be kind of be
Ooh.
well done. So that's
Oh, you're
that's
one of
kind
those
of
people. You got to have well done wings.
got have to be well done. If
No
I
juice at all.
bite into a wing and I get like any sense of a mush, like I'm freaked out. But that's why I
Mm.
go to the same place over and over again, because they know what I like, and
Yeah. I get it. I'm starting to understand your football fandom a little more based off your wings order. Yeah.
correct. So
Got it. Got it.
that's what I'm doing. I think I'm kind of on record. There's a couple of things that I actually like for the Super Bowl. So early in the show, I talked about I got about 100 kind of like on the Rams. I got 200 into some Super Bowl boxes.
Hmm.
I got about 100 into some cards. So
Hmm.
that's a total of 400. I got $100, left over through the article that I wrote with you guys. I'm pretty much, locked in with Von Miller under 5.5 combined tackles. Guys kind of averaging about 2.5, tackles per game over the course of this past year. there has only been 2 games. I believe one was against the Seahawks. The other one was the playoff game against
Okay.
the Cardinals, and where he reached 6 tackles. He's never
Mm.
gone above 6, and he's only gone over 5 twice in the
Yep.
entire year. So I'm looking at the under 5.5 combined tackles as a pick. We talked about this last week as well. I'm very much locked in. I actually wound up getting it at one of the, I guess I can say this. I mean, it's my show and whatever.
Yeah.
One of the illegal bookies that I've networked with. I wound up getting that first quarter points under. I got it at 10.5. So when we were talking about it last week, we saw it at 10. I saw an opportunity to get it at 10.5. I jumped on that. And
That's first quarter. Oh, you
first
said
quarter
first
total
quarter.
points.
Okay. So
First quarter total points.
I bet the first half. The line on the first half was 24.5. So
Okay.
I took the under on that in a legit sports book.
Okay.
Because I was looking that up. I might even go. I think there's a first quarter over under as well, so I might look at that. Because
And the only other thing that I'm looking about, actually, and then I got a couple statement games cards, so we'll jump into it, when you want. But before we into that, anything that you're looking at outside of statement games, whether it's I don't know. Are you doing FanDuel, DraftKings? Are you sneaking off to one of the Indian reservations up in Connecticut? Whether it's Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods, the sneaking kind of. I guess they're all powered by either FanDuel or DraftKings anyway, right? So I guess that doesn't kind of matter. But actually, and I think I forget what the Bobby Valentines in Stamford, Connecticut. They're powered by some sports book as well. But I know.
Well, it's the CT Lottery. It's Play Sports, Sugar Sports,
Okay.
which is the parent company of Bet River. Because
Okay.
we talked about this earlier in the year that due to the casinos, they don't allow any outside casino brands in Connecticut.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So when Bet River bidded on the CT Lottery spot, they were required to utilize their parent
So
company.
it's their technology, but it's the CT Lottery, I guess, brand that's kind of
Right.
running it. Do I
So
have that right?
the two
Did I botch
casinos
that?
plus CT Lottery were each allowed to partner with somebody. And the one thing that sucks about Play Sugar Sports is it sounds like a stupid phone app like game, So I don't utilize them much. FanDuel, it's FanDuel for me. I go through them.
Well, regardless, is there anything that I guess you just talked about the first half line? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you kind of saw that's sticking out at you that you like, dislike?
Okay, I got a really good one that I put the odds on
Don't
it
tell
are
me it's the
just
Gatorade bath color.
no, this one's a little bit better than that. It's so anytime touchdowns. I did a 4-leg parlay
Interesting.
that essentially the odds on it were just ridiculous. I had to go through and make this bet. I only put $5 on it. But the odds are plus 175.30 or 17,530. For $5, the payout is $800.
There you go.
It is 4-leg anytime score, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, the Rams defense, and Joe Burrow. Like, how are the odds for that so ridiculous? That seems like it could happen, That's 4 touchdowns. So that's 2 per team. Kupp getting a touchdown. I mean, he's like negative 128 for a touchdown, in any touchdown. Jamar Chase is right around that point too. The Rams D was really what brought it up. They're plus 600. And then Joe Burrow, you're telling me Joe Burrow couldn't run one in? That's
Hey,
so.
whatever floats your boat, dude. It's your money. You do whatever the hell you want. So if you're feeling confident about it. I mean, it sounds like a very interesting proposition. It's not like it's a completely outrageous scenario. So,
And I got $5
and
on
you
it.
got $5 kind of on it. Let me ask you kind of like this, because we didn't talk about this last week, but you and I had talked about this leading into this show as well. A few weeks back, or maybe it was later than a few weeks back. Maybe it was kind of like around that late October, early November timeframe.
Mhm.
You wound up placing a wager on the Rams winning the Super Bowl. And we
I
had
did.
talked about, hey, you know what? Does this now give you an incentive to bet the Bengals in an effort to be guaranteed a winning ticket?
Yeah.
So my question is this: are you taking insurance or are you letting it ride?
So I went through my picks. I didn't find anything price wise that I liked. I didn't want to put up the amount of money it would take to make it worth it to bet the Bengals at this point to get that insurance.
Got you.
But what I did was, you know, I got a decent one here.
How
It's
much did you
a
put on the? If you don't mind me asking, how much did you put on the Rams to win the Super Bowl back in November?
$50.
$50. And the
Which
payout on that $50 ticket is the potential
uh
of what?
the total with getting my money back would be 375.
375. So you wouldn't want to put $100 on the Bengals
I, I would.
and be
I just don't
guaranteed at
have
least
like I don't
and be
usually
guaranteed
bet
like at
that
least 50
high.
bucks.
I don't usually bet that high. Like if I was going to,
But you're not betting. This is guaranteed money coming into your pocket.
I understand that, but there's still, I have to deal with a wife seeing these transactions happening. So
Honey, I am guaranteed to pocket at least $50, if not
yeah,
275.
no, yeah, no, I
I
definitely
get
see
what
your
you're
point.
saying because it's funny. I'm laughing because about me at the time. This is my ex, I
Yeah.
guess, fiance, kind of like at the time. I was going into week 16, and it was me and one other person who were still in it for the King of the Hill pool that I had like at a local bar.
Hmm.
The payout was like I want to say like $2,000. So me and this individual said, hey, you know what? Instead of letting it ride in week number 17, 16 games, 17-week season, why don't we just split it? I'll take 1,000 and you take 1,000, and we kind of like
Hmm.
wash our hands with it. So, but I forget who it was. I think it was for some reason. I think I like the I don't know. I think it was the Giants or whatever
Yeah.
team it was. Yeah. So I have $1,000 guaranteed that I'm kind of playing with, and my last pick in that it's funny. I don't remember the teams that I picked, but I remember the fucking fight that I had with kind of like with my ex. So I had $1,000
Yep.
given kind of like to name, but my last pick was, let's just say it was the my week 17 pick was the Giants. I still liked actually it was the Kansas City, it was the Chiefs. Like I still like the Chiefs as my last kind of pick. Now that I'm
Hmm.
thinking through this and talking about it. So I wind up taking $500 of the $1,000 that I kind of like. I'm sorry, I took $250 of the 1,000 that I had, and I put a bet on the Chiefs. And at the time, I had just left my corporate job. I
Hmm.
just started up Statement Games. She's fucking flipping out. You're not kind of collecting a corporate paycheck anymore. How can you bet this type of money? So I'm explaining to her, I can't lose.
Yeah.
you know so I understand what you're saying, and where, yes, in theory we understand the points, but getting them to understand
Yep.
it is a completely different challenge, and I think you just got to suck it up
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I've
unless you feel like gambling. I mean, if you feel that confident in the Rams, and let it ride. I'm just saying,
hey, I put it out
a
there,
bird in the hand.
and the other thing, don't you never want to mess with karma. You never want to mess with karma. The Rams are where they are at, and I just got to
Oh,
be
you are
happy
such a
with it,
fanboy. It makes me sick. It is.
and take it.
You are
But
such. You're freaking blaming your wife when the real answer is, I love Matthew Stafford. He's never going to let me down, and I'm letting it ride. Instead of
yep.
just coming clean with that, you bring your poor wife into the equation, and you're alluding to the fact about how she's preventing you from cashing a $50 winning ticket, if not more. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey,
At least, hey, you know what?
I
It took a
did
little while,
make
but at least
some
the truth came
bets
out. The
that
truth came out on this show.
yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah. It's also a thing like for me, $50 that's the biggest bet I've made all year. I
Okay.
make bets with $5 to $10 generally that have really good prices. I really like I'll spend the 5-10 bucks for the endorphins that I get for the betting, without it, with the chance of like a huge upside win because I've had that. I bet Tyreek Hill to have the opening touchdown in the Kansas City Bengals game, I think it was, and it was back and forth 3 drives before he actually got that touchdown, and my $5 bet turned into
You're
like
sweating it out
80.
of the $5.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I kind of like to bet a lot here. I went a little overboard just because I'm looking at it as a holiday. I mean, my whole plan was just to, you know, it's a Super Bowl. It's an experience and things like that. Put $100 on a team, and then obviously take the insurance with the cards, and it just kind of
Mhm.
snowballed into this thing here. Now, in my defense here, the Super Bowl boxes that I wound up getting, they're also part of a Christmas present that I gave to my father and my
Mhm.
brother. So
Nice.
it's
This is the
it's not
first year I'm
all
not doing
me, you
Super
know.
Bowl boxes.
Yeah,
I've been
I
doing
hate
Super
them.
Bowl
I can't.
boxes.
I never. That's probably because I never win them.
Mm,
But it's almost like I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. But it's a
yeah,
couple weeks before the game. My father, my brother wanted it as a Christmas present. I mean, what am I going to do? Get them something? And if they win, I'm going to be pissed off that I didn't go in with them.
yeah.
So it's like he's
Well, you know who always wins the Super Bowl box, right? It's the wife or girlfriend who bought one box. They'll win every single
correct.
time. Every
Like my
single.
father wants nothing for Christmas. So I was like, well, I got to get him something. So
Yeah.
he likes the Super Bowl boxes, so that's what he got. Anyway, so that's kind of what we got for today. Let's make a couple different picks because I
Yeah.
do have a couple of cards that I'm planning at a premium on statement games. Um, let's see here. I'll make it kind of special. I mean, we put a lot of different props in creating the card for this game here.
Mhm.
I think as we move forward into the 2022 NFL season, I think the community can expect more things like this,
Awesome.
which is like a little bit kind of creative. So I don't know. Hopefully, people who are playing this game can give me some feedback. Hey, are we going over the top? Do you want to see more? Do you want to see less? That's the type of feedback that I'm kind of looking for. Hey, go 10 for 10 with your picks, and if you do, I'll come to the table with $100. And although I don't want to do it,
Mhm.
I don't want to do this. I will give your choice one of these two. Your choice of one, not both.
Yep.
Your choice of one. I mean, I guess that's one of the benefits for getting two.
Mhm.
Now I can kind of look to provide an incentive and give one away if somebody does hit. But hey, look, the rules are pretty simple here. Your first entry only. You have to be a subscriber to the Statement Games channel or the Statement Games channel on Rumble, either YouTube or Rumble. Doesn't really matter. We'll put
Mm.
all the links in the description, below here. You have to comment in the comment section below what your username is and who your number 10 pick is.
Gotcha. There it is. Awesome. For everyone that is watching, if you want to get in, we are playing the contest tournament, Rams versus Cincinnati. It is the Super Bowl. What is that? 56 contest, and we are in number 3. So if you see SG live, just know you're playing against us, and we're coming for it this week because we this is our last chance in the NFL season to get that 10 for 10, and Mark's gonna send me that card because I'm gonna pick it.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, full disclosure here. If we go 10 for 10, Ty goes to the house. So if
Okay,
we go 10 for 10,
he's sending me $50 in a card.
uh, I might
All
send you
right,
50
take your
bucks. I'm
first
not sure I'm
pick.
going to
Let's
part.
do
Yeah.
this.
Well, I think, this is not going to be a shock. You and I are on it. We've talked about it extensively. So I don't think I'm stealing anybody's thunder, but let's just go ahead. Number 10 pick, or you can put it whatever you want. I'll take the Rams over, or we'll win by over 4.5 points.
Rams over. There it is. I like it. I like it. Obviously, I gotta like it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is actually, I feel very confident on this one. So much so that I bet, and I thought the odds on it were crazy high. Um, but I'm going to bet that Rams will score on defense or special teams. I'm
Wow.
on
You know
that.
what? There's something that's crazy that happens all the time in Super Bowls. So I definitely like the pick. So
Second year quarterback. Granted, he is Joe Cool, but you get into that light, and it is a different monster. And we've seen it time and time again where this stuff can happen. And if it's gonna happen, the Rams are gonna do it. I just believe that. All right, what do you got?
So the way that I kind of see this whole game playing out here, I am definitely on the under 10.5 points in the first quarter. So the way I see this game playing out here, slow start in the first quarter, maybe the Bengals keep it close. I start to see the Rams pulling away as we start getting towards the third quarter. I like your analysis of how Rams scoring on defense here. I'll let you put this pick wherever you want here, but I'm in the game category, and look, you get it both ways. I'm leaning obviously more towards the Rams. I
Mhm.
don't think this is going to be a close one at the end of the game here. So give me any team will win by 10.5 points.
Awesome, nice. I actually really like that. That is a something I was zeroing in on too. I was looking at that
I
thinking,
mean, the line is 4.
mhm,
I mean, although we get both teams, so if you want to move it, but or leave it as is.
I like it.
But okay,
I like it right there. All right, so I'm gonna drive in, and I'm actually gonna go something a little different here. I happen to key in and look at these field goal lines,
yeah,
and I really like Evan McPherson over 1.5 field goals. Um, he is, I mean, one, he's got a storyline to him
he does have
in
a story. I
in
like the
in
kid
all of
too. He
this,
says he
you
guts as
know.
well.
And so, and I think that the Rams are going to be stopped on defense a few times, but I also think that they're going to be somewhat electric on offense. So I think there's going to be times where they're going to get into the red zone, not be able to convert a touchdown, and McPherson's going to be up, and he's going to be relied on to keep them in this game. So I like that 1.5 field goal over, because that's just two. That's two opportunities for that, and I think it'll happen. And I think that, that line could be higher, and I would have a different, make a different decision or walk away from it. I think 2.5 is probably where I would have been probably staying away.
Very good. And for my last one, I mean, I've seen enough of Eli Apple over the course of the years, the cornerback on Cincinnati. So
Mhm.
you have Cooper Cup on one side, Odell Beckham on another side here. I just don't see any way in which the Rams will not have a significant play. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of locking in on Matthew Stafford's longest pass over 39.5 yards.
I like that. I definitely like that. That's a good one. Um, All right. Yeah, I think you're right. I was very worried for a second you were going with the interceptions on defense there for Stafford, which is a very good possibility if the game script goes against um what we're all kind of predicting. If the Bengals can come through and put pressure on Stafford, and I saw a stat this week that the Bengals actually had more QB pressures, I want to say, than the Rams did this season in the regular season. I don't I don't know. It was a passing stat, so I'm not 100% on that, but there was something about their line being pretty aggressive this year. So if Stafford gets under pressure in a sense that he has to throw it away, that could happen. He could end up with those turnovers. So but I don't feel confident enough to make that pick. So but I do like this longest pass over 39.5. He's going to throw a bomb to Cooper Cup and put this thing away at some point. So I'm actually going to come in here and yeah, I'm gonna do it. Cup over 103.5 receiving yards. I think that they've held him back in these games, not because the defense has been good against these other guys, but because they know that he's the weapon, and they're going to release that weapon this game. They're going to come out and it's going to be the Cup show because it's the Super Bowl, and why wouldn't you? You know, so I think Cup can get past the Cincinnati's really decent secondary and put up some big numbers. So that's where I'm at with him. And what do you think? Do you think Cup has a big game?
I I think that it's going to be either one or the other. I mean, it's kind of like, pick your poison. So if you're going to take away Cup, I think, Beckham actually has the bigger of the game. You want to take away, Beckham, obviously, Cup is going to be a front runner for, I
Mhm.
feel, potential MVP of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But I
absolutely.
mean, the guy just walked away with what it was I think it was today, right? He just walked away
Yep.
with Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And deservedly so. So,
Correct.
awesome. So we got our picks in. We're going to save the last four for some competitive
Yep.
advantage. We'll put those in off air. And just know that we're playing in contest 3. It is the Super Bowl contest on statementgames.com. If you see SG Live, you know it's us. So how are you feeling about that ticket right now, going into it, and in the game? Where are you at?
I'm a little nervous, but only from the standpoint that you and I don't think that we've ever done a show in where we've been lockstep like we are kind of right now. So that's a little concerning. But
Hmm.
other than that, I'm feeling pretty good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, for everyone out there, make sure that you are following on all social medias at Statement Games. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Statement Games Inc., or on Rumble. I believe it's the same thing. And, be sure to be playing statementgames.com on your mobile app or the desktop, as well as the white label partners. So, with that, Mark, it has been a great season. We've put together at least an episode a week, outside of a couple weeks there where we've
Yeah,
had to take some breaks. But other than that, it's been an amazing season, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do after Super Bowl.
sounds good. I'll catch you soon.